in its first full day of arguments, defense attorneys for Hollis Daniels turned attention to the character of their client. Friends and family of the confessed killer took the stand today in an effort to keep him off death row.
KCBD News Channel 11's Case Wilbank was there to hear from them and joins us with details. Case?
Karen and Abner, among all of them, was shock at the murder that Daniels committed, killing Officer Floyd East Jr. The defense hopes to convince the jury he wasn't in his right mind then, and a pastor today testified that the case is mind-boggling. High school friends, college friends, a former teacher, youth group leader, and relatives. Hollis Daniels saw them and others appear in court Tuesday. Defense attorneys questioned them about his past, his family history, and how drugs and death may have impacted his behavior. A college friend told the jury of the night before the shooting of Officer East when Daniels stole a gun from the Central Lubbock home they were gathered at, and how his use of Xanax got worse, and how when using, he was unable to understand what was going on. Prosecutors pressed him on that, and the friend said that Daniels was not coordinated, was slow, and relaxed when using Xanax, and heard Daniels' negative statements toward police. A cousin of Daniels' father was asked about the family's history with mental illness, suicides, depression, and substance abuse. She said Daniels was devastated by a tragic death of a caretaker in 2017, a man who helped raise him. And she said the Hollis Daniels that killed was not the same person she knew. The state emphasized through testimony that Daniels' parents were loving and supportive and never did not provide for his well-being. High school friends testified of Daniels' kindness when they knew him, his care for others, but synthetic marijuana use and eventual Xanax abuse. That possession of synthetic marijuana would get him into a drug court. The Guadalupe County judge testified about that. He said Daniels completed the court, but there weren't enough resources for him to get the proper help he needed, and said his parents didn't take it seriously. A chaplain who said he knew Daniels since he was a child, also served with his father on the city council, said, quote, "It didn't make sense. It was difficult for it to register, and unlike Daniels, to have committed that murder." Another pastor and youth group leader in Seguin says Daniels was, quote, "an all-around good kid," but noticed him change as he appeared to be under the influence attending the group in later years. Still, when learning of the murder, she said, quote, "I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. It wasn't the kid I knew." We do expect the defense to continue calling similar witnesses to the stand when testimony resumes at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Karen.
Thank you, Case.